Hey guys, Jamie with the Summer Rain channel, welcome back. So today I'm actually doing something quite a bit different and I'm really excited for this video. So today I'm going to show you how to make beeswax wraps. These are to replace saran wrap or baggies in your house. I've been making them for a few years and I'm absolutely in love with them. So I think they are a lot cuter than just saran wrap on my stuff in the fridge, and also I'm not wasting the plastic, so that kind of feels good too. I did put the full recipe for these down in the description box below. I also put a link to my blog, so in the blog I go quite a bit more in depth about all the ingredients, why we use them, everything like that. I also go over troubleshooting, so if you run into any issues, feel free to hop over to the blog. I go a lot more in detail about what you can do, say if they're not sticky enough or something like that, what you can do to troubleshoot your beeswax wraps. I think you're going to be surprised at how easy they are to make and how cute they look in your house. So I always love when I have things covered up with something like this in the fridge instead of just plastic wrap. I feel like it's so much cuter. Without further ado, let's dive in and learn how to make these wraps. What you're going to want to do is you are going to want to start out with fabric. Now the fabric that you want to get is you want to get something that's 100% cotton. The reason why we use 100% cotton is it's safe and natural to wrap your food with, and it tends to absorb less of the beeswax mixture. Now go ahead and wash and dry your fabric, and then you're going to take your pinking shears and you're going to cut around the edges to cut out the shape that you would like. So I like the pinking shears because it kind of gives you this design. I also like it because it makes it less likely to fray. Now for the small wrap, I do this 7 inches by 7 inches, the medium size are 10 by 10, and then the very large wraps I do a 13 by 13, but you can absolutely cut these to any size that you would like. Here are the 3 ingredients that we're going to use for our beeswax wraps. The first one is beeswax. Now we use this because it has a natural antibacterial and antifungal properties. It's going to create a breathable wrap that helps keep food fresh, but it allows it to breathe at the same time. Next, we're going to use just a wee little bit of jojoba oil. Now we use this to soften it up a little bit so we can make the wax pliable. And the third ingredient that we're going to use is pine resin. Pine resin is going to be what gives this wrap the tacky feeling, right? Because we need it to be just a little bit sticky so it'll stick on your container or stick into a bag shape, whatever you're using your wrap for. This is what's going to give it kind of that tacky feeling. You're going to want to make sure that you put your beeswax into a heat-safe container. To the beeswax, we're going to go ahead and add our jojoba oil. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our beeswax and jojoba oil into a double boiler with a little bit of water. Now to make a double boiler, what I do is I just take a saucepan with a silicone mat on the bottom, and I use that. I like the silicone mat because it keeps this secure, so when it's boiling it's not kind of shaking around, and I feel like it protects the container so it doesn't accidentally break while it's on the stove. Now we're going to heat this on the stove on like a low to medium heat until the beeswax is completely melted. While the beeswax is heating up on the double boiler, what I'm going to do is prepare my work area. So down here I put a little bit of freezer paper, but you can use wax paper, parchment paper, whatever kind of wax type paper that you have. You are going to put some down on the counter to protect it, and then you're going to need another piece to put on top of the fabric. So I went ahead and just taped this right down to my counter. You're also going to need a paintbrush. We're going to use this to go ahead and paint the mixture onto our wraps. And then lastly, you're going to use an iron. Now, I use my crafting iron because I don't want to accidentally get beeswax on here and then put it on my clothes or something. So I just go ahead and grab my old crafting iron. I went ahead and pulled the wax off the double boiler. I'm going to add the pine resin to it and then just give that a good mix. Now the reason why I don't add the pine resin while it's on the double boiler is sometimes it can really clump up and it just kind of turns into a mess on the double boiler, so I like to add it afterwards. So you're just going to go ahead and take your paintbrush and just paint the beeswax mixture directly onto it. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, you don't have to get every spot. It's fine because we're going to hit it with the iron, so we just kind of want to get a bit of the mixture on here. Now I sprinkled just a bit of pine resin on there because it didn't want to mix well into my beeswax mixture, so if it clumps up on you, you can do that too. I just grab just a wee little bit of it and just sprinkle it directly on there. And then we're going to take another piece of wax paper, put it directly on top, And we're just going to go over this with our iron. Now I have the iron on a pretty low setting. I think it's plugged in. Yeah, it's plugged in. And we're just going to kind of even out all of that waxed mixture that we put on there. And you want to make sure that you hit like the sides, you kind of hit the whole thing. And then after it's done, I like to come in with just a wee little bit more and just give it one more quick wipe. And we'll iron it again. And I hit it a second time because I want to make sure that both sides are fully covered. And then I'll just shake this out for a minute. And then I'll go ahead and come in with our next one. Now your beeswax mixture is going to harden up really quickly on you. So if it does, it's fine. You can kind of take the clumps and put them on there because you're going to even it all out with the iron anyways. And the same thing, because I didn't get enough pine resin to mix in, I'm just going to sprinkle just a wee little bit, kind of evenly across it. Now the pine resin is like a yellowish color, so sometimes if you're using the lighter, it can stain a bit. And then we'll do the same thing. And you have the clumps, it's a little bit harder to iron. You kind of got to go on top of them and melt them down. And you can kind of feel with the iron, you know, when the clumps and stuff are melted. I don't worry about it too much because, I mean, you can pull it out as many times as you have to and put it back on there to iron everything. So if you mess up, you can always redo it. And then I like to just come in with like a spoon because you're going to have a lot of your mixture that gets on the edges of your wax paper, and I just kind of scrape it up and put it back onto the cloth. On this one, the sides didn't really get enough of the mixture on it, so I'm just going to put that there and we'll remelt it. And you can kind of like push the mixture with the iron. So because I know these sides needed a bit more, you can almost like while you're melting it, just bring the iron across to almost like push the stuff where you want it to go. And make sure that you don't use like a new iron or something that you're going to use for your clothing. I would really be worried that somehow some of this mixture would get on there and then you iron beeswax and stuff into your good clothes. So I always use a craft iron. and that one's completely coated. So what I do, and it's hard to see here because my camera's not high enough, is I just shake it out for maybe like 15 seconds. And then I go ahead and place it somewhere to dry. And real quick, I want to show you how to fold this wrap into a bag. So start it out facing like a diamond shape, and then just fold it directly in half. So then you wind up with a triangle. Now we're going to fold it into thirds. So I'll just kind of crease that a little bit. We'll fold this side, and then we'll come over and we'll fold this side. Now I like to take the right hand side and kind of tuck it into the other one to create a really nice pouch. And then I just come in, bring one of the flaps down, and as you can see, it creates like a little pouch that would be big enough for like a sandwich or something. And then to seal it, you can just kind of press it down with your finger and it will stay shut. And then I'm not going to actually make a sandwich for this video, but I just kind of want to show you how big these bags kind of are. So if you did have a sandwich, it would definitely fit into the bag that you made, and I feel like it is just a little bit cuter than using a baggie. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy making and using your own beeswax wraps. I love how many colors you can make with this. Like, the options are endless with this, so I really think you're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.